All right, so what exactly does it take to finish a feature film? Like, what do you really have to do? And I'm talking about, like, you don't have a big budget, you don't have producers, you don't have people behind you, you have you. And if you're lucky enough, you have a guy like Steve Peckman to do the score, and you have some musicians like Barbara Nell and Ian Smith to contribute, but you don't have, like, you're shooting everything, you're doing all the lighting, you're doing the wardrobe, your craft services, you're everything. What do you have to do to finish a film? That takes you probably 2.5, 3 years to shoot, edit. You have to edit everything yourself. You know, you're the DaVinci Resolve colorist, and you're the editor, and you're the sound person, you're the grip, you're everything. What does it take to finish? Well, there are plenty of obvious things. You have to learn how to use your camera. You have to learn how to write a story, how to write a script. You have to, put everything together so that you have a cohesive film. I mean, you could go out and just play around and kind of figure things out by the seat of your pants, but I'm talking about if you want to have something that's like a real movie that you can, submit to festivals and maybe have a theatrical release and maybe license and make money and, share with people and move people and, create something that is real art. That's what I'm talking about. So the obvious things, you have to learn how to use a camera. You have to decide which camera you're going to use. You're going to use a phone, you're going to use a Sony a6400, you're going to use a Panasonic S5 in my case. What lenses are you going to use? I use two Minolta lenses, a 28mm f2.8 and a 50mm f1.4. I used a Sigma 28-70 f2.8 for one shot. But otherwise, 99% of the film, two lenses. What are you going to do for sound? I used a Purple Panda lavalier mic and a Zoom H1N audio recorder, 24-bit, 96 kilohertz pro audio. I used a Boya shotgun mic for a lot of the close-up shots, like where I was close enough to the camera so that it would sound professional. So you have to learn how to do all that. You got to get a tripod. Are you going to use a gimbal or not? You have to get lights, some kind of lights. I have a little Pixel RGB light. It's the size of a credit card. I have a stick light. I have a tiny, tiny little light. Like, you have to decide. So I used mainly natural light. So you have to learn, what does that mean with your ISO and your shutter speed? Well, you want to keep your shutter speed twice your frame rate. So I'm shooting at 24 frames per second. My shutter speed, I'm using shutter angle, 180 degrees, period. So it's 1/50, pretty much. My ISO, I'm shooting at 2 ISOs because Panasonic S5 has a dual native ISO. So I'm either at 640 or 4000, that's it. I'm not straying from that, I'm using an ND filter. What's the aperture? Well, a lot of people say you should choose an aperture and stick with that throughout the film. To me, that's like crazy talk, because how is that a creative process in deciding what you want each individual frame to look like? And so I'm using whatever aperture I feel is appropriate to that moment. So you have to learn all these things, right? Then you have to shoot. You have to figure out how to, put together a shot list. You might have to storyboard. You have to have a good solid script. You have to have a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end, some exposition, denouement. Like, you have to have a story. You have to have something of meaning, whether it's funny or scary or a drama or whatever. It's got to be something that people are going to feel in some kind of way. These are all like things that you need to have before you enter the phase of actually getting it done, getting it finished. And so obviously you have to have all your gear in order. You have to plan, what gear do I need today? What environment am I going to be in? You're going to be indoors where you're controlling the light. You're going to be outdoors where you have no control over the light. Like, you have to figure it out. You have to know what it's going to look like when you get it into your editing software, whether it be Premiere or DaVinci Resolve. In my case, it's DaVinci. Like, you have to kind of know what it's going to look like. Are you going to shoot in log? Are you going to pick a picture profile? I shoot in Vlog only. You have to learn about color space and things like that. You have to really know what you're doing. If you're handicapped by not having money, not having a crew, not having producers, not having people who are, taking care of the business that you don't really want to think about, but if you're on your own, you must think about. And then, once you figure all that out, and once you shoot everything, oh, and by the way, in my case, only actor in the film. So once you figure all that out, then you get it mixed, you have a finished file, probably a high resolution file, QuickTime file, ProRes, whatever you choose. You know, something as, you know, the least compressed file possible, because hopefully you're going to wind up at Netflix or HBO or Showtime or Hulu or somewhere like that, right? That's the goal. A theatrical release would be awesome. Festivals, you know, trying to get to Tribeca, Sundance, Cannes, South by Southwest, you know, all the indie film festivals. That's when the process really begins of getting it done, because you finish the film, but what's the point of doing art if you're not going to share it? And I know some people write for themselves and they do things, you know, it's like a kind of a visceral, you know, kind of process, to like a healing process, a feel-good kind of process. Like, I know that, but that's not me. Like me, I create art for one reason: to share it. That's it. I just want to share it. I want to contribute. I want to make some kind of offering to people. And so when I finish shooting, what's next? What's next is now you have to finish. So what I want to talk about specifically today, and this is a good time to go, I say all that to say I have been hunting for a Panasonic S1H for a while. Like, I have to get an S1H because, you know, and I'm not going to go way into this, but I saw some moire in one of my shots recently, just making a YouTube video. And, you know, the whole 2.5 years that the whole 2 years that I was shooting this film, I never saw that kind of banding. I never saw any kind of issue. The S5 is a camera that I love. I mean, I have not thought about another camera since I bought this one until I saw that moire, and now I can't unsee it. Like, I think about it all the time. And mainly I think about it like if somebody else hires me to do a project for them, you can't really get rid of moire in post-production. It's just there. And so I've been going, you know, I'm putting myself on the hunt to get a Panasonic S1H, because it's pretty much like a blown up S5, but it's got an optical low pass filter, which pretty much eliminates the moire. And so that's a $4,000 camera, brand new. You could get it on Adorama or even at B&H or a place like that used for like $1,800, which is an amazing price. So I usually scour eBay. I'm like big on eBay. I've bought a lot of vintage lenses on eBay. I bought my anamorphic lenses on eBay. I bought a camera on eBay. I actually, you know, I bought a lot of stuff on eBay. And so yesterday, I saw a Panasonic S1H in excellent condition, supposedly, and it was sitting in an auction for $810. Let me say that again. A Panasonic S1H for $810. Like, you ain't finding that. And so I'm like, damn, I gotta get that. I gotta win this auction. Now, you know, as you know, sometimes when you get to the very end of the auction, in the last like 60 seconds, it could go from $810 to $4,000. Like, there were 27 people watching this auction. And so I thought it's gonna be above that, but if it's below 1,000, I mean, it's an unbelievable price for something that I need, that I really want. But I feel like I need it too, because, you know, I'm not worried about the moire here, because if I find it here shooting for myself, I'll just reshoot. But if I'm working for a client or something like that, I can't do that. And I might lose money, and I might screw up somebody's life. You know, what if I shoot, I mean, I don't shoot weddings, but what if I did shoot a wedding? Like a once in a lifetime event, something that people, you know, it's a huge responsibility. You can't afford to have that kind of risk involved in accepting money and accepting that kind of honor from somebody. Like, they're trusting you. You can't have moire. And so I'm trying to get an S1H. $810. But the problem is, I need a DCP for my film, and that's the point of this video. That in order for me to really be finished with this project, I need to do all that I need to, that's involved for uploading to submissions for festivals. I got to come up with, photos, proper photos, a poster. I got to make a trailer. I got to write a synopsis. I have to support the work that I just gave my whole life to. Like, why would I give my whole life to a project and not support it and not do everything that I can to market it now, to push it, to put it out there, to make it appealing so that people want to see it, like they feel like they need to see it? Why would I not do that? And I need a DCP, because if you want to submit to like Tribeca, Cannes, Sundance, South by Southwest, Toronto, like the big festivals, they require a DCP. And what is a DCP? It's a file that is necessary for theatrical showings of your film. Digital cinema package. And it's just a higher level of putting together your film. The video, the audio, all of it. Like it's the most reliable and it's the highest level. And so I need a DCP file, and it's really expensive. It's going to cost me like between $2,000 and $2,500. Probably. I mean, can I find it cheaper? Of course. But if I want to get a really good one that's absolutely reliable, that a company will stand behind, that I can hand it over to a theater and I know it's just going to work, I'm going to spend between $2,000 and $2,500. Now, I have spent my whole life emotionally, mentally, physically, financially on this film. I have nothing left. I'm at zero. So, I mean, I could pay my bills, obviously, but I need a DCP file. I actually have a GoFundMe for my DCP file. And so, how could I buy this camera right now? But it's $810. And so, I'm looking at the auction yesterday, and I'm like, I'm going to do this. I even have a credit card, an empty credit card set aside just for a Panasonic S1H. It's been sitting there for 6 months. Well, actually 4 months since I saw the Moiré. And so I'm like, I got to do this. This is the time. Like, sometimes things show up at, inopportune times when it's inconvenient, it's not the right time, whatever. Sometimes you got to go for it. So I'm watching the auction, but at the same time I'm thinking, I have collaborators. I have people who I'm responsible to who just gave me like these incredible gifts of their music for this film. I have people who have backed me, like when my computer just wouldn't edit anymore in DaVinci Resolve. I did a GoFundMe and people helped me to get a Mac M2. Like, I'm honoring everybody. I have dedicated this film to my grandmother, the memory of my grandmother. I can't let her down. I always make myself accountable to other people in every project that I'm working on. And so I'm watching this auction and I'm thinking about the DCP and I'm thinking about the S1H at the same time, and the auction's coming down, and it comes down to, I get an email, there are 14 minutes left. So I pick up my phone, I start watching. 12 minutes, 10 minutes, there's 5 minutes left. It's sitting at 810. 3 minutes left, all of a sudden it's at 830, 840. I'm like, okay. Suddenly it's gonna go to like 1500, I'm not gonna feel bad. 850, 850, 870. Now there's 60 seconds left and it's sitting at $870. 30 seconds, $900. 10, 9, 8, 7, I'm about to do it. 6, 5, I gotta buy it. 4, DCP. 3, all these people that are work with me. 2, I have to do it. Let me slow down to 120 FPS and let's just slow down here for a second. I have to do it. I can't do it. It would be stupid. It would be irresponsible for me to do it. I have to do it. I can't. What would my grandmother say? Get the DCP, get it finished. There'll be another S1H. You're going to make money. You're going to license this. Things are going to be good. You'll be able to go buy one for $1,800 from Adorama or B&H and have a warranty. $900. 2, 1. I let it go. It killed me. That Panasonic S1H in excellent condition sold for $910. $910 for a Panasonic S1H. But you know what? I'm so proud of this work that we just finished. I'm so proud of the people that I worked with. I'm so proud of what I've accomplished. I'm so happy with the way it looks. It looks incredible. It's beautiful. You know, the first movie I shot was on my phone on an LG V40, but now I shot this film on a Panasonic S1H. It looks like a Hollywood movie. I mean, it looks really great. The sound, the score is astounding. Steve Peckman, it is off the charts. Unbelievable. Barbara Annell, amazing. Ian Smith, guitar player extraordinaire. I mean, I'm so happy with what we did. I'm so excited to share it. And I am today, because I didn't buy that Panasonic S1H, I am one step closer to being able to share this movie with you. And so we're going to screen it in the spring. I have a deadline to submit to Tribeca by the 20th of this month. I'm going to make that deadline. I'm going to have a DCP. I'm going to put it on that credit card. And I'm doing fundraisers, or I'm just, you know, I'm hustling around making money. I'll come up with the money, you know, even if I just have to work it off myself. You know, I sacrifice, you know, I don't eat as much, I don't do anything, I don't hang out with anybody, I don't eat dinner, any of that stuff. I haven't had a vacation since, you know, I don't even remember the last time I did something like that. Like, I'm completely dedicated and committed to my craft, to my work. That's it. And so I'll get the S1H, but I'm going to get a DCP first. And most importantly, I'm going to finish what I started.